My father gave my sister my house at her wedding. I said no. He slammed my head into a wall in front of everyone. He didn't know a guest was live streaming. That night, 5 million people watched me bleeded. It was the end of his life and the start of mine. I still remember that night, the cold concrete under my knees, the blood on my hands, and the door slamming shut behind me. My husband had just thrown me out, his mother's voice still echoing, telling him to teach me a lesson. 8 months pregnant, clutching my stomach, I dialed 911 with trembling fingers, praying my babies would survive. I didn't know it then, but that call would expose everything, their greed, their cruelty, and the truth that would change my life forever. My name is Marian, and I'm 28 years old. Looking back at the first months of my married life in Charlotte, North Carolina, feels like viewing a snapshot from a happier time. Sunny streets, the hum of engines from the workshop where my husband, Darren, worked, the smell of coffee in our tiny apartment. Those little things felt complete. We didn't have much, but we had each other. Darren was an auto mechanic, grease on his hands but gentleness in his voice. We married for love. My parents, Patrick and Diana, had warned that love alone doesn't fill a pantry, but gave their blessing. They loved Darren for his honesty. Our home growing up wasn't fancy, but it was filled with laughter. When I moved out after the wedding, Mom cried softly, Dad hid his tears, and I promised to visit every Sunday. The first few weeks were a dream. I decorated our apartment with cheap market flowers. Darren and I planned our future, his own auto shop, a nursery for the children we hoped for someday. Then, life changed. Barely a month after our wedding, my parents died in a car accident. One phone call split my world in half. Darren held me as I collapsed, screaming until my throat burned. They left me their house, but I couldn't bear to enter it. I clung to Darren, believing love was enough to fill the silence death left behind. I didn't know this loss was just the beginning. Months passed and the fog of grief began to lift. Darren returned to work and I tried to find routine. One morning, feeling dizzy, a small spark of hope flickered. I bought a pregnancy test, my hands shaking as 2 pink lines appeared. Tears filled my eyes. Tears of joy this time. Mom, Dad, I whispered, I wish you were here. That evening, I told Darren, you're going to be a dad. His face broke into the biggest smile I'd ever seen. He lifted me, spinning me gently. Are you serious? He kept repeating. For a few days, the house felt alive again. But when his mother, Norma, and sister, Renee, heard the news, their reactions were cold. Norma frowned. You two barely have enough saved. Why rush into this? Renee smirked. Guess we'll be paying for diapers now. Their words stung, but I tried to ignore them. Darren defended us, but I saw how easily their negativity chipped away at his confidence. Still, I whispered to the tiny life inside me, you are my hope. As the weeks passed, my body changed. So did the mood in the house. Norma started visiting unannounced, inspecting, criticizing. You should save more. Darren can't afford hospital bills on his salary. Her tone wasn't concern. It was control. I started researching ways to earn from home and discovered Etsy. I loved crafts. My mother used to say I had gentle hands. I opened a shop selling personalized baby items, blankets, bibs, decor. It felt poetic. The beginning was tough. Then, one morning, you've made your first sale. I screamed with excitement. Darren hugged me. See, you're amazing. Norma wasn't impressed. Wasting time on childish crafts instead of resting. Inside me, a quiet fire awakened. We'll be okay, I whispered to my belly. Mama's learning how to fight softly. By my 4th month, the tension between Darren and me was thick. His mother and sister visited almost daily, their criticism disguised as advice. You shouldn't eat this. Let Darren handle finances now that you're emotional. Their words were slow poison, wrapping around Darren's mind. He came home later, smelling faintly of beer, conversations becoming short and tired. When I shared good news about my Etsy shop, he'd nod distractedly. That's nice. Then came the doctor's appointment that changed everything. Darren joined me reluctantly. As the ultrasound screen flickered, the doctor smiled. Congratulations, you're having twins. 2 heartbeats echoed, fast and beautiful. Tears filled my eyes. Darren squeezed my hand, smiling nervously, but his fingers went stiff. At home, Norma's reaction was cruel. 2 babies? She exclaimed sharply. Double expenses, double trouble. Renee gasped dramatically. Wow, you two can barely handle rent. That night, Darren was silent. Maybe Mum's right, he finally said. Maybe you should slow down on this online stuff. We can't risk anything. Darren, this shop is helping us, I said softly, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. The divide grew. Norma's criticisms came through Darren. Renee mocked me vaguely on social media. I refused to break. I started saving small amounts from each Etsy sale secretly, hiding cash in an envelope inside my journal. Something told me I'd need it. My Etsy store bloomed. Orders poured in. Customers left glowing reviews. Your work made my baby shower special, one woman messaged. Those words felt like medicine. I felt capable, not just a wife, but a woman building something. Yet at home, Darren was falling apart. He complained constantly about work. He came home late, angry. Then, he started missing shifts, claiming burnout. His boss let him go. They don't appreciate loyalty, he muttered, slamming his keys down. Maybe this is a sign, I said gently. You can find something better. Norma, visiting that evening, seized the moment. Or maybe your wife's online online hobby distracted you, she said coldly. Darren's face darkened. It's not a hobby, I tried to defend, but he silenced me with a raised hand. Don't start. Weeks passed. Bills mounted. My Etsy earnings kept the lights on. He saw the truth in each package mailed, each PayPal notification. It bruised his pride. He stopped thanking me, stopped noticing me. Resentment built in his eyes. My success didn't make him proud. It made him feel small, and a man feeling small can become dangerous. It was late October, 7 months pregnant. On my way to the post office, I stopped at a gas station. A bright poster read, Powerball jackpot, $750,000. On impulse, thinking of a bigger home, better doctors, security, I used $2 from my secret cash envelope and bought a single ticket. I tucked it into my purse and forgot about it. Days later, folding baby clothes, I heard the winning numbers announced on TV. Something made me pause. I pulled out the wrinkled ticket. One by one, the numbers matched. All of them. My hands trembled. No, this can't be. I sat frozen. Oh my God, I won. In that exact moment, Renee walked in unannounced. She saw me staring at the screen, the ticket shaking in my hands. What's that? She asked, instantly suspicious. Just a lottery ticket, I murmured. Her eyes widened as she looked at the TV. Wait, those are the winning numbers. Panic rushed through me. Renee, please don't. But she was already smiling, pulling out her phone. Oh, Mum is going to love this. Within an hour, Norma and Darren were in the living room. Darren was pale, eyes gleaming with greed. Norma looked triumphant. You bought this without telling us, she snapped. It was just for fun, I said weakly. You have no idea what to do with this kind of money. Norma cut me off. You'll waste it. Darren added, you should give it to me. I'll handle everything. I shook my head, voice trembling but firm. No, this money is for our children, for their future. Their expressions hardened instantly. That night, the winning ticket hidden beneath my pillow, I felt a mix of fear and triumph. This victory was about to turn into a dangerous storm. The next morning, the tension was electric. Darren sat pretending to read the paper. Norma made coffee she didn't drink. Renee scrolled on her phone, darting glances at me. Where's the ticket, Marion? Darren finally asked, his tone cold. It's safe, I said carefully. I'll claim it after the babies are born. I want to plan properly. His jaw tightened. Norma laughed bitterly. Plan? Or are you planning to keep it for yourself? This money belongs to our family, I insisted. It's for the children. Renee smirked. Funny, you say our, but mean yours. Please, I begged, hand on my belly. I don't want to fight. Norma's voice grew louder. You've turned my son against his own blood. You're poisoning him with your independence. Darren slammed his hand on the table. Enough, but the anger was directed at me. Give me the ticket, Marion. Tears welled. No, this money is our only chance. You'd spend it in a week, Darren, and you know it. That was the spark. His face twisted with rage. He struck me across the face, hard. My vision blurred. I stumbled back, hitting the table. Pain shot through my abdomen. Darren, please! He wasn't listening. His mother screamed, teach her a lesson. Renee blocked the door, phone out, recording. Darren grabbed my arm. You think you're smarter than me? He hissed. I'm pregnant, I cried, clutching my stomach. Please stop. He shoved me again. I fell hard, my side hitting the floor. A sharp pain ripped through me. I felt something wet. My babies. As Darren yelled, my gaze landed on my phone on the coffee table. When Norma shouted for him to grab the ticket from the bedroom, he turned for a split second. I stretched, dragged the phone toward me, hid it under my dress. Just as I tried to stand, Norma and Renee grabbed my hair, dragging me toward the door. Get out, Norma shouted. They opened the door and threw me onto the cold porch steps. Through tears, I saw Renee snatch the envelope with the ticket from my purse. Darren took it, hands shaking, eyes empty. He didn't look back. They slammed the door and locked it. Bleeding, shaking, I clutched my belly and my phone. With trembling fingers, I pressed 911. Please help me, I whispered. My husband hit me. I'm 8 months pregnant. The sirens felt like a promise. An officer knelt beside me. Ma'am, don't move. We've got you. Another pounded on the silent house door. Darren, Norma, and Renee had fled with the ticket. Inside the ambulance, the pain intensified. Easy, a paramedic said. Breathe. They placed a monitor on my belly. 2 faint, rapid heartbeats. Your babies are fighting, she smiled faintly. At the hospital, nurses swarmed. We need to deliver now, the doctor said calmly. Flashes, oxygen mask, injection, my own heartbeat thundering, then a cry, thin but alive. One, then another. They're okay, I whispered. The doctor smiled. Both boys are healthy, small but strong. Hours later, a police officer took my statement. We've issued alerts, he said. They won't get far. We'll find them and your ticket. Before leaving, I whispered, please make sure they pay. He nodded firmly. They will, Marion. I promise. On the 3rd day, the police returned. We've located them, Officer Grant said. They tried to cash the ticket at the lottery center. The clerk recognized the description and stalled them. All 3 are in custody. Relief washed over me, followed by tears. Not for them, but for the broken pieces of my life. The ticket is safe, he assured me. I testified via video link from my parents' living room, the babies sleeping nearby. The judge listened intently as the prosecutor presented medical records, police photos, and Renee's damning video. Darren, Norma, and Renee appeared on screen in handcuffs, looking hollowed and pale. My voice shook, but I spoke my truth. Your Honor, I lost my parents, my home, and almost lost my children because of their greed. I don't want revenge. I just want safety for my sons. The verdict came quickly. Darren, 12 years in prison. Norma, 8 years. Renee, 5 years. A permanent restraining order was granted. You're free now, Marion, my lawyer whispered. Weeks later, the state returned the lottery ticket. Holding the official check for $750,000, I thought not of money, but of survival, of strength, of the mother I had become. With the lottery money legally mine, I rebuilt. I renovated my parents' house, turning their old bedroom into a nursery filled with light. I officially registered my Etsy business, Marion's Little Miracles, upgraded my equipment, and hired a part-time assistant. My shop grew beyond my wildest dreams. I set aside college funds for both my sons, a promise their futures were secure. Neighbors waved, seeing only a young mother smiling with her twins. That was enough. At night, I'd sit on the porch, thinking of my parents. I made it, Mom. Dad, your girl didn't give up. Life found a gentle rhythm. My Etsy business thrived. I started teaching free weekend classes for single mothers wanting to start their own businesses. The framed lottery check hung in the nursery, not as a symbol of wealth, but of endurance. News eventually reached me that Darren, Norma, and Renee were serving their sentences quietly. No apologies came, nor were they needed. Peace was my goal, knowing they could never hurt us again. Every evening, I step onto the porch and breathe in the calm night air. The same sky that witnessed my pain now watches over my peace. We made it, I whisper to the stars. My name is Marion, and my story isn't one of tragedy anymore. It's a story of rebirth. Looking at my sleeping sons, I whisper the words that carried me through. You are my miracle, and together, we are free.